Can you see me?
Sure can. It's right there. And there.
But I'm in camo.
Oh, yes. Floating head like
I'm trying
the
to
Wizard
blend.
of Oz.
I'm trying to blend in to the scenery.
Yeah, that's not how that works. But you know what? That is a good segue.
Unintended.
Tell me about your new show, Wild Game Kitchen, where you're wearing lots of camo, huh?
Actually, no, I've yet to wear camo there. I know. I think I had a camo hat.
Yeah. A little too on the nose.
No, not at all. It's a great new show. Have you seen it?
Yes. I actually have.
I think she's lying.
No, I watched it all online.
Oh, you did? You saw some of the digital stuff?
I did.
Yeah. It's awesome. I've never done a stand and stir show before, as you know, since we've known each other for like basically my whole television career.
Yeah, that's true.
It comes about from a really honest place, which is there's several camps, none of which are aligned. Okay, there's the camp that says, oh, game is gamey, I stay away from it. I had a bad experience with venison when I was a kid.
Yes.
Or I had a bad experience with fish grandpa caught. I don't eat that. So there's the I don't eat it camp.
Yeah.
Then there's...
It's a large thing to decide not to eat. Like, so many...
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Okay.
So then there's the group that says we can't touch anything from the wild because we have to protect it.
Oh, okay.
Well, which comes from the heart, and but the fact is there are some wild fisheries where we need to take fish out. There are some places where deer populations have exploded, and the DNRs in those states do a really good job of monitoring animals and then issuing tags.
Yes.
Sometimes in a lottery system, sometimes it's just a simple application system. In some states, you can just get one because they want everyone who wants to be able to take an animal in the wild.
Right.
Then you have the group that loves it all.
Yeah.
And they cook venison one way all the time.
Yep.
They just cut it into little pieces and roll it in flour and fry it because that's what Grandpa did.
Right.
Or they always broil the fish with sour cream, lemon, top the tater, cottage cheese. Like a million things to make a sauce on it under the broiler to make it easy. Or as I say in the show, they drop the pheasant into the crock pot with 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup and cook it for 8 hours, which is delicious and comforting comfort food. And I make a lot of that kind of stuff, not in the show. But if you're just limited to that, you have flavor fatigue from it. You don't know what to do with all your birds.
Imagine if you only made pot roast with beef.
Correct. Now, the reality is, wild game is delicious and wholesome. It's great to harvest it from the wild. It reduces the pressure on our factory farms. And if people understood more ways to prepare it, they'd be more interested in it. They wouldn't be as turned off. The reason that, this happens to everyone when they're a kid, unless you grow up on the ocean where you're like my dad, pulled fish out of the ocean, walked it over to the grill, cleaned it in a pail, threw the innards into a bag because we used it to go crabbing later that day.
Oh, okay.
And then scaled the fish and threw it on the grill, and that's what we ate at 4:00 in the afternoon with a big pot of crabs or mussels we pulled. And we didn't call it foraging or anything like that. It wasn't an outdoors lifestyle. It's just what we did. And for the crock
You were
pot
foraging
crowd,
before it was cool.
I did. We called it threeaging.
That's so dumb.
I'm a dad. It's a dad joke. And then for the people who, just cook their game one way all the time, and then, of course, they say things like, give me everything else in grind.
Yeah,
for burgers.
And mix it with pork, so
Well,
it barely is.
What happens is, some people feel they need the fat, which they do because they want to do burgers. I am not poo-pooing a venison burger with pork fat in it. It's delicious when it's done right. However, they're taking that grind from the shank and the neck and the front leg, ankles down. These are pieces that can be braised and the meat pulled from it. They make amazing soups. You can take that meat and actually cut it off the bone, grind it yourself, like pulse it in a food processor, or put it through a grinder attachment on a KitchenAid at a thicker piece so it's fresh and not frozen. Use it to make chili and freeze the chili, right? There's so many different things to do with it. Rather than taking fish and like letting it get old in your fridge, thinking you're going to cook it and then freezing it, you can smoke it. We do all kinds of things in this show. I think I'm fun and funny, and it works out really nicely. I love to cook this food. I've been doing it my whole life. And like we always say around the office, better to be the only than be the best. And no one was out there doing food like this for people to see that you could, most importantly, if you don't hunt at all, don't know anyone who hunts or fishes, you can take my wild caught trout recipe and use it for sea bass. You can take the venison recipe and use it for pork you buy at the supermarket.
Right.
All of the recipes, all of them are translatable to ingredients that you have access to.
Right.
So it's a super fun show. It's great. It's a standard story. It's me cooking for you. So I think it's nice. And we're in fun locations and we do fun food.
Well, and I'm excited too as a person who, I come from a large family where people like to hunt and fish a lot.
Yep.
And a couple of my uncles, definitely not most of them, but a couple really like to cook. But I feel like they are so limited with their, here are 3 things that we like make pheasant this way. It's grilled.
Yep.
That's the only way.
Yep.
But I'm really excited.
That might dry out that bird.
I'm not saying, it's
the
not
pheasant,
for me,
the one pheasant, look, I have a dozen pheasant recipes and they'll just keep rolling out over the course of the season. But the pheasant recipe that we used in season 1 was actually, we quarter the animal like you would a chicken. We brown the pieces and we cook it in apple cider, shallots, apple vinegar, and Applejack, which is American Calvados, of apple brandy. And then we put diced apples and currants in it, hit it with a little bit of cream and stock, and it makes this luscious sauce around it. It's like 7 ingredients, and it's so ridiculously good. And we cook the pheasant, dark meat a little longer than light, just to the point of being done, and let it rest, and it falls off the bone. It's delicious. Chef's kiss. Totally. So now look, that's great to complement the grilled pheasant.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And the idea, look, everyone gets flavor fatigue, even people who don't cook wild meat. Most families I talk to cook chicken the same 3 ways, pork the same 2 ways, lamb one way if they have lamb. Anything beef, it's 2 ways. Good stuff goes on a grill, other stuff that gets cut up in pieces and make a stew. Families tend to fall into flavor fatigue ruts, so I hope this also expands that. Oh, and it's all shot over open fire.
Yes, which is super fun.
Super fun. And I think weekend warriors who do barbecue, they semi-professionally will learn something. And I'm hoping that people, and by the way, all the recipes can also be translated for cooking indoors. It takes work to make recipes that will hit all those bases, but I think that's important so that everyone can find something in this show.
Totally. Yeah, I'm excited.
Monday nights at 9:00.
Yes.
On the Outdoor Channel. 9:00 Eastern, 8:00 Central. Be there. Be there or be square.
And it's a whole night. It's like a whole lineup of
Well, yes, there's a lot of other people doing a lot of
shows.
other cooking in a lot of different styles. So tune in. You can just leave the television, computer, wherever you watch on. Do you watch television or do you look at, is it your computer?
We don't have cable anymore.
Neither do we. We cut the cord 2 years ago.
Oh, all right. Is that weird? How do you watch your your show?
On the monitor.
Oh, on your,
on our-
okay. Well, I know, it's maybe a different
Because it
question,
comes over the internet.
Yeah.
That's where we get our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Hulu. But I mean, Hulu TV, YouTube TV. There's a couple others in there.
Yeah.
Roku, whatever. You can access everything. I've not missed a show. I would encourage people to cut the cord. You save a lot of money. It works. If you're not a cord cutter, become one. It's super awesome.
Mm-hmm. Are you allowed to say that as a TV person?
Yeah, I don't care how you access the show.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I just think as a citizen, these giant companies put you into bundles, and you're committed to paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I saved like $1,500 a year when we cut the cord.
Yeah, you know.
Got our TV over the internet with like a super inexpensive, Hulu or YouTube TV is way less expensive than cable, and then we added in the things we like, but
Right.
including like our music
Yes.
that now comes over, and obviously I live in a posh mansion with dozens of servants that can adjust
yes,
the
your
100
butler.
speakers throughout the house. No, I'm kidding. So it's like, but it's so much easier. It's so much fun. My remote control got really small.
Yeah, but how often do you have to like search for it? That's our problem at my house. But I also have little kids.
Yeah, we don't.
I
We have
mean-
dogs. The dogs are interested in chewing everything but the remote control.
Oh, thank God.
God bless them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? Would you like to hear my top locations for hunting
Okay.
before we?
Yeah,
say
I would
goodbye
love
to these
that. Sure.
kind people.
Yeah, I've been dying to know with all the hunting I do.
Well, I know it's.
I've been
Molly-
I've been once.
That's
once.
true.
Just once.
That's true. You did. You marked that off your shit I'm scared of list that you just walked through and did,
Yeah.
which I was very impressed with.
I do go with Josh. I
Yeah.
do. I don't do the hunting because I'll cry too much with,
Right.
with deer and all that.
Right.
They just look too much like my dog. But I will help clean the deer if he gets one, which he didn't last time.
Wow. Happy shout out to the husband. No, here's the thing. Go where you are, right? Hunt what's local. That's really important. The flyways are really great. I go to a lot of the lakes up here in Minnesota to shoot duck. Geese, I go to South Dakota. There's some really great goose hunting there. I go up to some of the lakes outside of Winnipeg to hunt ducks,
Good
which
fishing there,
which
too.
is fantastic. Great fishing, but at that time of year, we go late where the ice starts to come in, so where the ducks are landing in the open water. But I'll go duck hunting outside of Houston, Texas, with non-migratory brown ducks that are down there that put on a lot of fat because they eat in those Texas rice fields. It's really fantastic. Obviously, I'll dip a rod into the water, anywhere I am. Doesn't matter, lake, river. I do or ocean. So obviously that's a given. I do try to get up to Alaska and do salmon and halibut and come back with some fish. It's a really great thing. I am a fill the freezer guy, and now with the freezing technology that they have, the fish can be frozen so quickly and packed in cryovac that there's very little difference between fresh and frozen when it's done the right way with fish that has fat in it. With fish that's really lean, right? Like sole or super, bass and snapper from Florida has very little fat in it, right? So I encourage people to catch what you need. It's also super plentiful. So just catch what you need, eat it. Don't try to fill the cooler with snapper on one trip and frozen. Although, while there is a difference between fresh and frozen, it's not awful, right? Frozen red snapper fillets are fine. And those are some of my favorite, places. I love going fishing in Florida. And I think what's probably most important is if you're a bird hunter or an angler, or you like to hunt bigger game, is to join local associations. Everyone kind of shies away from that, but that's where people are talking about conservation,
Right.
land management, water table management. I'm a insane social justice advocate for those types of things. But where I got exposed to those ideas was sitting in my, Pheasants Forever meeting, the whitetail group. I mean, just like all these different groups that, I give $10 a year to, you become a member and you get a lot of material that comes your way. And it's none of it, well, I shouldn't say none of it. Most of it is not, here's how to fill your freezer. Most of it is, what are we going to do to conserve the land?
Yeah.
And so I think there's a misconception about hunters. There's an old joke that I can tell because I am Jewish, that there's no such thing as a Jewish hunter or a Jewish alcoholic. And I'm both.
Yeah, you are.
Let's just blow up blow up the mythology. But that's, the mythology about these groups, like I'll just pick one, Pheasants Forever, is that it's all about shooting birds. No, it's actually it's all about preserving habitat.
Yeah.
Because that's, people who are out in the field and stream understand that our natural resources are disappearing.
Totally.
So, anyway.
I do agree. It's like, I always feel like, this is what I learned on my one hunting trip. Hunting is like 1% of what you do, like the actual hunting, and everything else is like hanging out, talking, connecting, learning.
Any hunter will tell you the exact same thing. And obviously last year, your husband would agree, the best days in the field that I've ever had. I mean, when I think of the best day in the field I ever had, I never put the stock to my shoulder, not once. We were up in central Canada on a lake. We got skunked that day. But when we were headed out, the moon was setting. As the sun was rising on the opposite side of the sky, and both were blood red. It was the most incredible natural phenomenon. We had a great day. I mean, just lots of laughs. It wound up being a little too warm. Ice melted. Birds weren't coming our way. But, the 3 or 4 guys that I went with became such better friends that day.
Yeah.
And we had some birds from the day before that we cooked for lunch. We just had a great time. And then as we're headed back, the sun was a hunter's moon was rising, and this incredible sunset was sinking, and we got an even better natural phenomenon in the sky that night. And we went home and we cooked up a big meal in front of the fireplace and hung out and played cards. And I remember everything about that day, you know. And was it fun that, when I took a record animal in, an exotic place and had my name for 3 seconds in Boone and Crockett? Sure. But I actually treasure more the day in that duck blind in Canada more than any other. Or going out, by the way, also with your dogs.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people train their dogs, and not necessarily to root out the animal, but just get, the dog will walk with you. Right. It's an incredible experience.
You had a hunting pug for a while.
I did have a hunting pug for a while. The thing was, he couldn't keep up on those really long treks, and in deep snow, a dog that's only this tall is problematic. God bless Pretzel.
I know.
We loved him. Pretzel. Anyway, go fork yourself.
You go fork yourself.